Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the books I've read and some of the movies I've watched recently, and I'm going to try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but there will probably be some spoilers. Yeah, let's get into it. And I'm going to be looking over here because I wrote out some points for each book or movie that I wanted to get to. So if I'm glancing over here, that's why. The menu. The menu dissects themes of wealth, greed, and subjective justice. It tells the story of a couple who takes a trip to a remote island, and they're promised that they're going to be the first to taste exquisite dishes from a chef's new menu. Within the first 20 minutes of watching, I'd known that this is the type of movie that you don't really need to watch the trailer for. You can just read the synopsis and you're good to go. So I had realized that I had watched too many seconds into the trailer to be completely shocked about what starts happening. The film starts right away by introducing the distinct personalities of both the main and supporting characters. We're introduced to wealthy people of all sorts. The film takes a satirical approach to showing the relationship between the joys of cooking as an art versus the monetary drive of the upscale restaurant industry. I mentioned the theme of subjective justice because although the chef is aiming to kind of show these people who they really are and reveal to themselves just how far away they've gotten from reality, their judgment isn't for him to decide, especially when he himself demands an aerated and entitled presence as well. All in all, the menu is a horror comedy. It was a bit gory for my taste, but it definitely addresses the conversations that it seeks to start. The last song is still a tearjerker to this day. Little Women. Little Women follows the dynamic sisterhood of the March sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. It's a layered story showcasing the different dreams these women seek to pursue and the paths that they take to get there. Watching this movie is like watching a leaf blow in the wind and it's being rustled and tussled before it finally lands where it's supposed to land. That's what it feels like to watch Little Women. It's a great movie. Honestly, I feel like watching it again. Don't Worry, Darling. Don't Worry, Darling is a sci-fi thriller that's set to take place in this 1950s utopia where the husbands go out to do secret work and the wives are left to seamlessly enjoy their days without any questions asked. It follows the married life of Jack and Alice. It was probably intentional to name her Alice because she's in this constant wonderland. Yeah, so it just follows them throughout this perfect utopia where the grass is perfectly green, the sky is always blue. But with all these dystopian movies, there's always someone that's smart enough to question why they are where they are and why things are the way they are, so that role belongs to Alice. The movie is 2 hours, which isn't long, but I feel that the ending may have been more shocking if the movie was shorter. A better use of time could have gone towards seeing how the resolution plays out rather than dragging out the conflict of the movie. Yeah, that was my take on it. The Zone of Interest. This, based on a true story film, is set in 1940s Poland, and it's a heavy one. It's a modern day reminder that groupthink is real and people can really be evil at heart. The movie follows the everyday life of the couple, Rudolph and Hedwig Haas. They desire to manufacture a utopian home for their family within a gruesomely dystopian society. The trailer is an ironic glimpse at the movie because it stresses the importance of doing what's best for the kids. However, the movie focuses on the daily weighted decisions of adults, not truly focusing on what's best for the kids at all. And dealing with such a horrid time period, this A24 film manages to be more mentally graphic than visually graphic. The unspoken nuances between characters, the confronting loudness of relatively quiet yet constant background noise, and the frame still shots all amount to exposing the monotony of the Haas family. It leaves the viewer to complete a lot of unfinished sentences. The shots are always pretty still and they're far away, so we're not really brought in with close-ups of certain characters because they're meant to be distant from us. Like, we're not meant to kind of empathize with them at all. The viewer is always left at an objective stance by being framed so far away from these main characters. The sound quality is, I would say, the most important feature of the movie. I watched an interview with, I think it was the director or was it, and the audio engineers for the movie. They had combed through the movie a few times, and I think with each time that they had edited the movie, they layered on sound and how important the sound was to telling this story about this family and really showing the context that they were living in on a daily basis and how repetitive their decisions started to become. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. With this book, I have talked about it in a vlog before, so I'll keep it short. This book is about a woman who finds herself in a psych ward because she is accused for ending her husband's existence. It's told from the perspective of her therapist. 10 out of 10 in terms of how it was written. Yeah, plot twist was really uncalled for. I couldn't have guessed it. The next one's a book as well. It's called The Coworker by Frida McFadden. This book draws you into the lives of two main characters, Dawn and Natalie. Dawn is a socially awkward yet eerily calculated woman, while Natalie is an outgoing, well-liked sales representative. They both work for the same company. Dawn is the newest member of their team. Dawn's been working there for a while, and she is known for showing up to work every day at the same time, getting to her seat every day at the same time. So when Natalie comes in one morning and sees that Dawn is not there, that's where the plot develops. I'll leave the summary there, but overall my reactions to the book is that it's an easy read. Like, in comparison to The Silent Patient, completely different writers, completely different style of writing, but I felt like Silent Patient kind of gave you something to work for, like it gave you something to think about. This book does have a bit of a slow start because it's drawn out in the beginning to really get the reader to understand the behavior and thought processes behind why the main characters do what they do. But it does eventually pick up the pace, and there were some good plot twists. I was satisfied with how the book ended because it shows the good and bad of every single character in the book, whether it's the most main characters of Dawn and Natalie or the supporting characters. Everybody gets, like, you're able to get a good and bad read on every single character. Everyone is caught in some gray area of consequences because of their actions. Let's get into Netflix's Uglies, starring Joey King. Long story short, it's a dystopian movie about beauty standards. Every kid is forced to grow up in this dystopia where as soon as they turn 16, they have to undergo this mandatory cosmetic surgery. And once you get this cosmetic surgery done, you're able to leave the current island that you're on and literally move across the water to the land of the beautiful and the home of the handsome. And as we all know, wherever there is a dystopian movie, there will always be the rebellious ones among the pack. So in this movie, the rebellion is called the Smoke. And those who are part of the Smoke don't want to get the cosmetic surgery done. So Tally, who is Joey King's character in the movie, is super set on turning 16 so that she can get this cosmetic surgery done. But as luck would have it, some conflicts come up that delay that from happening. And thus we have a movie because there's a conflict. So my reactions to this one is that I get what the movie is trying to say, but it's just too in your face. And the graphics feel outdated even though it's supposed to be set in this futuristic society. So despite there being strong and important messages, the story development was just kind of meh. Yeah. Okay, next. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I liked this book. A little backstory on what the book is about. The book follows the life of Evelyn Hugo. It starts off by following her from when she is a teenager all the way up until the end of her life. She ends up getting married to 7 husbands within her lifespan. Yeah, the book is pretty clean cut in demonstrating the dynamics of each of those 7 marriages. It always keeps the spotlight on Evelyn and how she is navigating her life in each of these marriages, and then how she's navigating her personal growth as well. It's a really good read of a woman who directs her life trajectory to whichever way she wants it to go. Not everything goes her way, but she manages to try and find a way to control the situation or make situations work for her rather than against her. The book takes place in, I think it's 1950s Hollywood. So that was also interesting to read as well, to kind of see the backstory of like what goes on behind the scenes. And of course, it's a bunch of suspicious stuff that's always going on behind the scenes because everything is not what it seems. She hires Monique to write her life biography, basically. So it takes us between the perspective of Evelyn and Monique. I just felt like the perspective from Monique could have been fleshed out more so that we have more of a draw or like a pull into her character. This was a good book, has some good life lessons. All right, last but not least, we have Poor Things. Poor Things takes a deep dive on themes of innocence, self-discovery, and linear views of a woman's value in society. To simplify things, Poor Things is like a play on the Frankenstein story. It illustrates the rapid life of Bella Baxter from girl to womanhood. She is the experiment of a mad scientist, Godwin Baxter, who performs a brain transplant on her. The brain that she is given is that of an infant. We're seeing a baby's brain developing in the body of a woman. So Bella Baxter grew up in Godwin's house, and there comes a point where she's just like, I want to get out, I want to see the world, I want to travel, and as soon as she gets the opportunity, she takes it. So she gets the opportunity to go and travel the world with Mark Ruffalo's character, who is playing Duncan Wedderburn in this movie. He is interested in Bella for all the wrong reasons. At the time that Bella goes and travels the world with him, her mind is still young. She has limited knowledge and perspective on all kinds of experiences. So it's evident that Duncan's character is interested in Bella because he likes the aspect that he can kind of control her in a way. My reactions to the film is that going into the movie, I knew it was going to be a weird one, and that is exactly what it was. A few things stood out. Number one, Emma Stone is a great actress. I can't think of another actress that would play this role so just shamelessly as Emma Stone did. Like, she really embodies the character and the life that is Bella Baxter. Number two, the cinematography is outstanding in this movie. The different shots, the different lenses, the different perspectives that were given is really nice, and it's creative. There's this one scene where Bella and Duncan are at a fancy dinner, and Bella's not having any of it because they're serving her all this fancy food. She's like spitting it out. She's not understanding why she has to eat this food and behave this type of way if she's not really enjoying herself. And they have this crazy dancing scene, which I really like. That was the part that I thought was pretty funny because it's Bella Baxter, yes, but then at the same time, like, it's just Emma Stone. Like, I cannot be convinced that when they say cut that she's snapping out of that role. But yes, I mentioned cinematography because there's this one man at the dinner. He's across the room and he's winking at Bella. Bella's not understanding any type of social cues whatsoever, so she's just winking back at him. Duncan questions that, and he's immediately triggered because he's like, no one else can look at you or have you except for me. Once again, Duncan has extreme control issues. So then he goes and marches over to go and fight this man. And the way the camera just follows the situation, it just reminded me of like the way cameras would follow people on reality TV when something's happening across the house and then they have to go and like run. And then 3, the color grading, just snap, snap, snap all around. Beautiful, stunning, gorgeous colors used in the movie. In all stages of Bella's life, she was in a situation of being controlled. In Bella's first marriage, so like this is before the brain transplant, she had been in a controlling marriage. After the brain transplant, she had been under the control of Godwin Baxter as this kind of experiment or something to be studied. After being in that kind of phase of being an experiment, she was under the control of Duncan. Even when she's not with Duncan anymore, she experiences this type of liberation, you can call it, but it's also like in a very controlled environment. But one thing that she does have control over is the knowledge that she's gaining and from the experience experiences that she's a part of. Yeah, I think I've rambled on about Poor Things enough. Those are all the books and the movies that I will talk about today. I have fun doing these little movie analysis. Let me look that up. Analyses. Let me know if you have any recommendations of good books or good movies. I'll try and pick a good bunch of interesting ones for the next time I do this. That's a wrap. Thanks very much for watching. Okay, bye.